Welcome Aquarius, your in-depth monthly horoscope for October 2024 for the Ascendant, the Sun or the Moon. Please do take advantage of your year 2025 personal horoscope forecast based on your unique birth data. If you order it now, you can get the rest of year 2024 free, plus your life roadmap report and 30% off. On the screen now, I'm showing your event chart right at the start of the month, which will prove influential. Now, as we go into this new month, the glittering alliance between the Sun and Mercury as September came to a close, which was a cazimi, means that your ideas absolutely sparkle as you enter October. A cazimi gives us the opportunity to ramp up the natural energies of Mercury, very much communication through Gemini and precision through Virgo. But for you, the host, your sister air sign of Libra, very much about fairness, equilibrium and balance. But the ninth house can also be about travel, higher education, contracts, and any desire we have to open up our world and make it a little bit more adventurous, even independent. So that's the big theme as you come into this month, but certainly in terms of your thinking and your analysis. However, if you recall, across the 17th and 18th of September, depending on location, the lunar eclipse occurred in your second solar house. This is where your traditional ruler Saturn continues to reside. But that was very close to the shimmering energies of Neptune. Since 2012, your generosity and compassion have been heightened by Neptune, but at times it may have made it more difficult to really be firmer around your boundaries, particularly around everyday finances. So as you go into this month, that lunar eclipse feeds into the solar eclipse, which occurs across the 2nd and 3rd of October. They're from different series, but we still need to, in some ways, weave them together. So that sensitive second house energy, money, self-worth, values, against the more expansive energies of the solar eclipse. So if you come into this new month, or even over the next 6 months, the period of influence of the eclipses, being a bit free and easy with your resources, because you're in the mood to break out, perhaps be a little bit more rebellious, that might not necessarily be to your best benefit. So it's just important to use the knowledge that the solar eclipse can bestow on you and to gain greater understanding of key strands in your situation to make as informed decisions as possible around finance. So that's the main way to weave those two eclipses together. But at the start of this month, your traditional ruler Saturn is influential still. It's in an opposition with the moon. The moon in the 8th house can be very psychological. There may be times this month, therefore, that what you learn could be very much to do with your inner world and your evolution in terms of your personal understanding. But because the 8th house can be about shared resources, Saturn's in the 2nd house, is there some tension that's set to shape up about how money is used or spent in a close alliance? It's possible. But equally, the 9th house can be very much about liberation. So that solar eclipse could see you want to break free of an arrangement which doesn't work for you any longer. So that could be, for example, someone you work for that you don't feel remunerated enough in the role, or you don't feel appreciated enough, because that's that self-worth energy of the lunar eclipse. It doesn't just have to be about money. But you know, if you do want to make progress professionally, Venus, the planet of charm, is right at the top of your scope as you come into this month, and actually aligns brilliantly with Saturn by the end of the first week. So your ability to cultivate important contacts could lead to something really substantive in terms of a contract. So that 9th house solar eclipse definitely has opportunities. The lunar eclipse is just presenting the potential for some details to be a bit hazy because of Neptune. So that's where it's very important to use the precision of Mercury for its rulership of Virgo in the solar eclipse and from the consumi to drill down into the details. It will help to protect you. But on the 9th of this month, Jupiter, the planet of fortune, does slam on the celestial brakes, as it does each year for 4 months. Won't go direct until the start of February next year. And it's in the part of your situation to do with speculation, but also fun, sociability, romance. If you have children, their activities are also brought to the fore by Jupiter in the 5th house since the end of May. Does it mean that you're going to be unlucky through till early February next year? No. Because Jupiter actually forges, despite the retrograde, a stunning alliance to the Sun right at the heart of this month. And it could be that something that you do try that is showing a fresh approach, that's more enterprising, could play out for you brilliantly well, because Jupiter can be in some ways about trade. So if you work for yourself, you've got a new idea, or you're developing a new strand in an existing business that you work within, it could create a lot of excitement. What Jupiter retrograde really asks us to do is dive deep down into situations and look at the more philosophical and faith-based side of things, rather than the more happy-go-lucky, playful, and perhaps living in the moment energy of Jupiter direct in the 5th house. But on the 12th, Pluto, which had been in your sign from the 21st of January to the 2nd of September, ends the retrograde, which began on the 11th of May. The great news about this is that you've got one small window to now go through to the 19th of November, and Pluto comes back to your sign. Now, if you check out Capricornians, they will tell you, many of them, that since 2008, Pluto's caused mischief. But Pluto is about transitions, and it's also about consequences and outcomes. And the 1st house is where we start a process off. So the 12th house energy that Pluto's in is about something ending, but something over a very long period of time. It could also be that if you're a bit more of a detached type of Aquarius and a bit more logical, that Pluto, through its transition since 2008, in Capricorn, it's been pushing you to become much more mindful of your deeper motivations, but of those of others. But there may have been some painful endings. That I'm not downplaying that. I'm just saying that when Pluto moves back to Aquarius, it is an opportunity to recast things in the here and now, particularly around your identity, your thinking, your creativity. And this last pass through the 12th house is at least not in retrograde. So it's a chance to really tie up lots of outstanding loose ends. But on the 13th, Mercury climbs high in the sky, joining with Venus initially in your 10th house. A great opportunity to learn new skills professionally, perhaps even to think about travel linked to your work, because the energy of the solar eclipse and the Sun still powerful in the sign of Libra, the 9th house of expansion. But Mercury does clash with Pluto. If there is a point of view, particularly around a professional relationship, that isn't necessarily aligning with someone you need to work with, it could be a tender moment. You may have to decide, do you want to comply with the expectation, or do you want to stay strictly with what works for you? You can do that if you're a natural bohemian, but you might miss out on a big opportunity. So there could be a judgment call at that part of the month. But on the 17th, Venus moves into your sector of truth, and that actually can be an opportunity to travel, to talk to someone who's exciting, different, perhaps from a different background to you. But also, on the same day, we have the full moon. But it's a full moon that's powered up by a lot of passion. It's in the sign of Aries, which of course is a fire sign. But the 3rd house energy is about quick communication. The position of the Sun, the 9th house, is about our higher thoughts, philosophies, the rule of law, and so forth. So it can create an electric energy around communications. But intersecting these two positions is Mars. And Mars, from the start of this month to the end, is in your 6th house, which can make you a bit more sacrificing, very hard working and give you extra endurance and stamina. It's going to be in Cancer through to the 4th of November, back again from the 6th of January through to the 18th of April. So if you are wanting to get even fitter or stronger or more robust to deal with life's demands, Mars certainly helps. Also helps you if you're wanting to really thrust into a job and invest a lot of energy and dedication into it. But what happens here on this full moon is that Mars creates a spark with the sign it rules of Aries, but also it's squaring up to the Sun, which is a bit weak in the sign of Libra. It's known as being in its full, and Mars itself is in full in the sign of Cancer. So we have the potential for some irritations, Mars in the 6th house, to actually creep into some strident conversations that could occur. Now, in some ways, maybe it's good that you could, if you choose to, really front up some of the frustrations you have, but you just need to be sure that you use the energy wisely. It's potentially a bit of a tinderbox, that particular full moon. But Venus moving into Sagittarius, Venus of course can be about charm and diplomacy, Sagittarius travel, expansion, individuality, independence, and Venus here can be quite sweet, but then on the 22nd, the Sun climbs to the top of your chart. Ambitions are going to be very important over the following 4 weeks, but it, like Mercury, clashes with Pluto. Once more, there could be a judgment call. But if you are really wanting to reach for the stars, raise your profile and be much more driven in terms of ambitions and goals, this shift of the Sun will help. Now Venus then runs into some heavy weather, clashing with Saturn towards the end of the month. Saturn in your sector of money, self-worth, values, against Venus in the part of your chart to do with higher truths. Are you realizing that someone will never really align with your values? It's possible, but also as the month comes to a close, Mars and Pluto, the two rulers of Scorpio, which themselves are very intense energies. Mars can be confrontational, Pluto can be about the deeper machinations, it can be about power, the things we don't necessarily see. So in your 12th house, it is possible that something around your work could come into the open, and maybe there are people that you're needing to collaborate with who perhaps are a little sneaky, not necessarily got your best interests at heart. Watch out for some office politics as this month comes to a close. Now, because of your nature, you can be quite idealistic, but the Sun and Mercury high in the sky could see you wanting to be a little bit more worldly orientated towards the end of this month. So anticipate who it is might be up to skullduggery, and if you do, that means you can anticipate it and prepare accordingly. But there may be some deep-rooted issues that do come up to the surface as this month draws to a close. So to recap, Aquarius, a glorious opportunity over the next 6 months and through the first 2/3 of this month to travel, expand your horizons, be a bit more spontaneous, try to develop that part of you that loves independence and freedom. But equally, there could be opportunities for some kind of new professional contract, but at the same time those responsibilities could in some ways create something of a dilemma for you. There may be some office politics towards the end of this month, but use the position of Mercury to check out the detail of whatever you're considering, and that will help you to negotiate those 2 eclipses, not just this month, but through the next half year. All the best, have a great October, and do please check out that year 2025 personal horoscope forecast offer. You'll get the rest of this year free, but also 30% off with your life roadmap report, all based totally on your unique birth data and great value too. Please see the link below for more.